dense and dark. Jazz, smooth jazz, soul, neo-soul, gospel, it all starts with the chord shapes. Today I'm going to teach them to you so that way you can use these in your covers or your own songwriting. Printable tabs by becoming a Patreon, links in the notes as well as the description. You'll see my email there if you want some one-on-one lessons. All right, hit subscribe if you like this kind of content, grab your guitar brain attention span, follow me on in, and let's break it down. A really good place to start with soul chords is with the diatonic extensions of the 7 chords. So that just means taking a chord like a C chord and turning it into a C major 7. These chords are also cleaner, so if it's a 4-note chord, you're probably only going to be using 4 strings. As opposed to these big 6-string chords, you tighten them up and you get that sound. Now you can play them with a pick as well, but there's a lot of muting going involved, so you're going to see me teach these shapes with my fingers. So we're going to start with the C major 7. And we're going to get our index finger on the 8th fret of the E string. We're not going to play the A string. So it's the 8th fret of the E string, and let that make connection with this A. So you're muting the A string with your index finger. Right here with our ring finger, we're going to play the 9th fret of the D. Pinky below that on the 9th fret of the G. And the B string on the 7th fret, or on the 8th fret with your middle finger. Pointer finger, 8th fret E, muted A, 9 and 9, G and D, and then B with your middle finger, 8th fret, not playing the high E. A good little rhythm for these kind of chords as you're getting used to them is down with your thumb, and you pull up with these 3 fingers, index on the D, middle on the G, ring on the B. You come down on a mute. 1 and 2 and. Then on the and, we pluck all 4 at the same time. 1 and 2 and. You also see me tap on the 4th beat. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Beautiful, beautiful sound. So if we're thinking, let's pretend like we're in the key of C for right now. The next chord would be the D minor. We have this really cool minor 7 shape. Really easy to play. And it's just going to be, because we're doing D minor, it would be the 8th or the 10th fret of the E string with your middle finger. Then I just use my ring finger to play the 8th fret of both the D, G, and B strings. Again, no A string, no E string. Some people are more comfortable using all 4 fingers. I like the sound I get with just these 2. C major 7, D minor 7. A nice 1-2 progression. E minor 7. All these shapes so far have been movable left and right. Okay, so let's look at a 5 chord. All right, so let's look at a dominant shape. Bar the 8th fret and get your middle finger on the 9th fret of the G string. And I'm playing 8 on the E with my thumb, and then I'm playing 8 of the D with my index finger. Middle finger's playing the 9th fret of the G, and then my ring finger's playing the 8th of the B string. So it's 8, 8, 9, 8. And this is my C7. If you're used to, or you've seen this shape, essentially it's the same thing, but because we're not playing the A string, we don't need this finger. We're also not playing the high E. Okay, so those are just the basic diatonic ones. You also have this really cool 6 shape here. So this would be the C6. What's cool about the C6 is it really happens, you can play this diatonically in a lot of different keys. You see the C major as the 1 chord in C, and it also has an A note, so you can play a C6 no problem. You see the C chord as the 4 chord in the key of G. G also has an A note, so you can play it as the 4 chord. No problem. You see it as the 5 chord in F. F has an A, so you can play a C6 as a 5 chord too. So the major 7 chord can only be 1 or 4. 7 can only be 5, but the C6 you can use as the 1, 4, or 5. And what I'm doing here is I'm using my middle finger on the 8th fret, root note, C. My pointer finger is playing the 7th fret of the D. My pinky is playing the 9th fret of the G. And then my ring finger is down here on the 8th fret of the B. So I have 8, skip the A, 7, 9, 8. C6. Really cool sound. Okay, so let's look at some cool jazz chords and some soul chords with the roots on the A string. If we start with our 1 chord, we have this nice major 7 chord. This is root on the 8th fret, so I'm playing an F major 7. You should know this F chord here, which is 7, 9, 9, 9. Hopefully you know this Jimi Hendrix inversion too. Okay, if not, that's fine. I'll put a link to inverting it over here. So we have this really nice F chord here. Well, we need to move the octave, that F note, down half a step to get the F major 7. Index finger on the 8th fret of the A string. Ring finger is going to play the 10th fret. Middle finger is going to play the 9th, and then the pinky's on the 10. So it's 8, 10, 9, 10. F major 7. Really pretty arpeggio too. Okay, so that's your F major 7. We can make that dominant really easy in F7 just by removing our pinky. Now, I'm not a big fan of this shape, but now you got it in your bag. 7, 9, 7, 9. If you wanted to, you could spider the fingers out that way, but I think it's easier if you just bar it and use these two. And that moves your major 7 interval down to the flat 7. F7. Now the dominant shape that I really like to use on the A string is actually the 9 chord. And this 9 chord doesn't have a 5th interval, but that's okay. You still have all the important intervals. So what we're doing here, this one's a G9, root on the 10th fret, 10 with our middle finger, 9 with our index, and we're going to use our ring finger to play the 10th fret of both the G and the B string. So we get 10, 9, 10, 10 on the middle 4 strings. And that is a G9. You can also clearly use a pick with all these chords, right? And this one right above it has the 5th interval, so you can also that gentleman Texas swing as well works fine with this. If you get your pinky here, you get the Hendrix chord. So this one, if we move that pinky up a half step, we get G7 sharp 9, the Hendrix chord. So we can sharpen that 9, which is interesting because a sharp 9 is also a flat third. So this is a chord that has both a major third and a minor third in it. And it's a pretty intense, pretty dissonant sound. Works really good as a really dissonant 1 chord, or it works really nice as the 5 chord. And if we're making it a G7 sharp 9, it would be 10, 9, 10, 11. So you just take that 9 and then move the pinky up a half step. Speaking of 9s, we have this G minor 9 here. If we take our G9 and we move this major third down a half step, we get the G minor 9. It's kind of a stretch. It might be easier if you use more fingers. And what I'm doing with this chord here is I'm playing 10, 8, which is my minor third. And then I'm going back to the 10th fret of both the D and the B. G minor 9 chord. Another very, very cool, very soulful sound. Why don't we take a listen to an augmented sound? An augmented sound is a major chord where you take the 5th interval and move it up a half step. So if this is our F major, our F augmented would look like this. Your root note's still here, major third here, and you get the color from over here. So the F augmented would be ring finger, 8th fret, that's your root note, so wherever you play it, that's how you're going to know which chord it is. Then you're going to go up a half a step, down a string, so we have ring finger 8, middle finger 7 of the D, and then your index will play in this particular shape, the 6th fret of the G and the B. You can use that chord as an alternative to the 5 chord in blues, and it sounds really, really nice. Something like you can also use it in these really cool chromatic movements like the intro to Wonderful World, where you go 1 chord, augmented 1, 4 major 7, 5 dominant. Very, very cool sound. All right, so let's take it a little further. Let's learn a 13 chord. This one is nice and dark, and we're using the root note for this particular shape on the E string. So we'll make it a D13. Why not? Well, let's a little more room. Let's do a C13. Index finger on the 8th fret here. You're going to skip the A string. Middle finger will play, and the ring finger will play the 9th fret of both the D and the G, and your pinky is going to play the 10th fret of the B. So you get 8, nothing on the A, 9, 9, 10, and this is to be a C13. And that works as a dominant chord, meaning you can substitute that one for the 7. So let's look at that in the context of a chord progression. Why don't we do a major 7 for 1, then let's go to a minor 9, and then let's go to our 13. So we get cool, huh? Dense and dark. And so there you have it, folks. That is an introduction to the world of jazz and soul chords. Now you can take it further. There's diminished chords. There's flat 13ths, flat 7ths. There's sharp this and sharp that. But this is the foundation. That should get you going. If you liked it, we'll do round 2 and we'll do another 10 advanced jazz chords. But this would be the introduction to beginner soul shapes. All right, keep on rocking and rolling. Have a lovely day, and we'll catch you next Monday for the next guitar tutorial. Have a lovely day. Keep on rocking and rolling. Now you have the power. What you do with them next is up to you. Whether you use them in your covers, whether you use them in your songwriting, whether you use them at the church, whether you use them in the street. You have the power. Have some fun with them. Write some songs with them. Expand your vocabulary. Learn some fills with them to go with them. Learn some arpeggios. This is just the start, the foundation. But this is the most important lesson because it is the foundation. And you can't build your building unless you have a strong foundation. All right, until next time, keep on rock and rolling. Have a lovely day. We'll catch you soon. 10 Thumbs Pro. My glasses are foggy because it's so hot in here. Take care.